AskReddit. Ex-MLM members, what are your stories, and how did you manage to get out of the industry? My mother did Amway years ago. She told me she quit when she realized she approached every new acquaintance with a name to make a sale instead of making a friend. This is what got me out of selling insurance. It wasn't a pyramid scheme, just a shitty commission job. My coworker and I were at a bar just chilling after a shit day, started talking to this guy, and without either of us realizing it, we had launched right into the pitch. My recruiter told me she made $400 at the party I was at. I later learned she made 25% of that. I was told if I could get 2 people under me, I would make $400 to $500 per month. Then I was told I needed 4 people instead of 2. Then I was $2,000 in debt with nothing to show for it. Deleted them all and changed my phone number. Edit. I'm an owner of 2 businesses, so I thought adding a small side hustle would be an easy transition, but it turned out that as a legitimate business owner, I couldn't bring myself to use the toxic business practices that were expected of me. Cold messaging, hounding people for orders, constantly reminding people about deals, etc. When I left, I helped the 2 girls who were under me get out as well, and apologized for roping them into something I thought was a good deal. My mom was caught up in the Market America scheme. They manipulated an already vulnerable, mentally unstable woman to sink $20K into her business. She took her own life less than a year later. If the company has washed up celebrities as podcast people and asks you to spend more money than you typically make in your business, you may want to reconsider your investment. Post-sleep edit. Thank you all for your support and kind words. Support your local crisis centers and shine a light on mental health. I'm so sorry, that's incredibly heartbreaking. Joined a jewelry-based MLM thinking it would be cute to sell jewelry as a side hustle in July. After I relocated across the country, I got roped into the be your own boss and make money while you sleep mentality, and for a while, it boosted my confidence because I truly thought I was doing a great job running my own business. On paper, I brought in good money, about $100 per live show, which was 1 hour a week, but I had to ship out the jewelry to them, which ate about 20% of the profit. Then the money earned went back into ordering more jewelry. By September, once the glitz and excitement of it all wore off, and I realized nothing was coming back to me, my boyfriend told me the only way to earn money in the business was to add new business partners. I told him I wasn't interested in doing that, but that was part of the scheme. I was so hurt by the people who had roped me into the business, so I quit that same day. Luckily, I made it out with only like $30 lost, but I still have a ton of jewelry and packing materials taking up space in my house. I joined Primerica. I didn't see any red flags at first, but small ones started popping up. Like my team leader telling me to basically live outside my means, to make people think I was doing really good, and then they'd join, and then I'd do really good. Or finding out all the contests ran around recruitment and not sales numbers. I left as soon as I realized, even put my name and number on the do not contact list. Blew a lot of money trying to make that work, only to realize I wasn't going to make any money without ducking my friends. Holy shit, this was my cousin. After she joined a local MLM 3 years back, she suddenly was taking vacations and posting pictures of her in expensive resorts. Found out later from her mom that she sold her 2 ounces of gold in saving, pawned her car, and was $10K in credit card debt to fund her fake lifestyle. I've been wanting to tell this story for ages and never got round to it. When my husband died, abusive prick, so don't feel bad for me. He left me with a fuck ton of debt. Okay, you can feel bad for me now, lol. Not long after he died, I had gone to a Tupperware party for a friend and made some positive comment about one of the products, and that put me on the presenter's radar. This presenter happened to be one of those top tier ladies that ignored their family to make it big. She was / is the regional person. Whatever the title is, I was broke, paying off so much stuff while waiting for the life insurance to come through. You'd be surprised at the amount of companies that don't give a shit that you've lost a spouse. They just want their money. So Tupperware was spun as a way to earn extra money. She even gave me the starter kit without having to pay up front. Problem was, I worked full time, and it was near impossible to book parties. I did my first presentation at my house, and booked no parties. I reached out to all my friends and family, and booked no parties. The pressure from this woman was immense. She'd call me while I was at my day job. She tried to convince me to quit my day job to focus on Tupperware. She knew I was broke, but she was adamant that if I quit my job I'd make it big, and before I know it, I'd have a Tupperware car just like her. She never listened to me. Even when I said to her, how do you expect me to pay my bills if I quit my job and start up Tupperware? She had a response for everything. Nothing was based on logic, and every time she called me, which was weekly, I was filled with dread. I started to ghost her. It took months for me to work up the courage to tell her I didn't want to do it anymore. It took weeks for her to accept my don't want to do it anymore. She dragged it on and on and on. Finally she sent me a curt, leave your kid at the front door message, which I did. She tried a couple of years down the track to recruit me again. I ignored her calls. All I wanted to extra income to help me. I also wanted to add to my friend group. All I got was stress, anxiety, and frustration. I know a girl who got sucked into oven. She constantly makes videos on FB and Instagram acting like she has this perfect life, and last I heard, her boyfriend, that she claims in her husband on social media, had to call her from a gas station to see if they had any cash in the house because both their credit cards were declined and he needed gas to go to a friend's birthday party. Needless to say, he didn't go. It literally says boss babe on her Instagram. My sister-in-law talked me into selling It Works. I was hesitant, didn't quite need the money, but figured extra income couldn't hurt. Was a seller for 6 months. They kept telling me to add all of these women I have in common with people I'm already friends with, and to post about it 3 to 4 times a day on Facebook and Instagram. I literally made an Instagram for it. They said to message at least 30 people a day about, and twice a week there was a group video chat they kept insisting I join. I couldn't join due to me being at my normal job. All in all, I hated it. I'm awkward and a terrible salesperson. And I made nothing from it. Never made a sale. They kept saying, try and get your mom or aunts to support you. It was a waste of money and all. But, made out with one new friend. I was a call agent for Tahitian Noni for the USA and Germany, now called Marinda. It was horrible fielding calls near when people's $120 monthly auto payment was due for 4 1-liter bottles of juice. I couldn't cancel their subscription on late notice without a fax with their signature at least a week in advance, unless they claimed financial hardship. Eventually I learned that I would just need to feed them what to say and then gladly cancel for them on the phone. Total scam. Only people who made money were the early people to sign up and the founders, who are multi-millionaires. Holy balls. My uncle had my grandma drinking noni juice for the longest time. She couldn't afford that stuff, but he was convinced all you needed in life was noni juice and a chiropractor. Doctors were bad. Used to sell Yaunique. It was easy to get out. I wasn't making any money, I couldn't be fake to sell my product, and I learned about quality makeup, and Yaunique ain't it lol. You can buy ColourPop for literally 1/4 of the price and 10 times the pigment and blendability. Ducking Beachbody. Had a friend who's been doing great on it. Recruiting left and right, making lots of money, and it is so easy to do because everyone wants to be healthy and lose weight. It's fine if you just use it for the workout videos for yourself, but having to be the person to reach out to random people and be like, hey you're fat, come pay loads of money for this sheet, and oh yeah you can have a huge discount if you become a coach too, and recruit other people and scam them also. It's all bullshit. Yep. I had a friend send me a super long message on Facebook about losing the baby weight. I was already so self-conscious about my body, and then to have another woman try to exploit that to make money literally made me cry. A girl I went to high school did this to. I never even spoke to her in high school. She sent me a message like a month after my daughter saying I looked like I could use some help losing my baby weight. I responded to her, recommending she never reach out to a new mother again. I worked at the head office of a large MLM, and one of the OGs, Mary Kay, you have to live, breathe, and sheet pink. Honestly, I once got sent home from the office because I had made a cardinal mistake. I had worn a pantsuit to the office. As a woman, we were expected to wear a skirt or dress daily. I was new and didn't really think they'd get upset over a pantsuit, all things considered. I was wrong. I know this is a different perspective, but hear me out. I didn't really know what Mary Kay was initially. All I remember is seeing the old school pink eyeshadow cubes in my mom's MacBook drawer. I started to discover that things were all a bit strange and predatory. We would run campaigns inside of universities and colleges because the older generations all knew what was up. The company was marketing toward these younger girls specifically because they didn't know the shtick and hinging on the fact that we would somehow be able to convince them of making easy money. I heard a lot of horror stories the longer I worked there, specifically from people who were angrily demanding answers from directors at the annual seminar held in Toronto for Canadian Mary Kay consultants. People losing thousands of dollars. It all felt so criminal to have been a part of. My wife wanted to do Nuskin for about half a year. The thing is, we already have an online sales business with a few thousand regular clients, so doing Nuskin just added one more product onto our product list, which was already pretty extensive. The problem, as I knew it would be, was that you don't make any real commission money unless you get people below you. No biggie, my wife just fake signed up family members and did all her sales in their names so her name could collect the higher commission. But even after going to all that hassle, multiple emails, credit cards, shipping addresses / PO boxes, etc., the commission was still only something like 15-17%, and our typical profit margin on cosmetic products is more like 40%. Some stuff, like the Body Shop shampoo, we can sell for over 100% markup. She figured that the free vacations and other perks for winning sales competitions would make up for it, and she ended up in position to win a 5-day trip to South Africa. But when we researched what all the trip entailed, it actually seemed like it was going to suck balls, especially when we had a 1-year-old at the time. So she just cancelled all her accounts, sold off the remaining product, and that was that. Bottom line is that, if you had the ability to make real money doing online sales for an MLM, you'd most likely make twice as much money for half as much work actually just working for yourself. Just remembered another one. I had this friend who told me her work was hiring and that she could try to get me an interview. I was about 16 at the time. She was a year older and drove me to the interview. It was in an office on the top floor of a strip mall. There were about 20 other people there who were being shown a presentation of the business, very pyramid schemy vibes. They had canvas photos of their top employees on the walls of all these marvelous trips they went on. During the hour presentation I never learned what the business was. They basically just told us how amazing and easy it was to get ahead in this business. The guy who runs the operation and all the employees were also there. I made a comment to my friend about how this felt like a cult, and she said, and I kid you not, guy who lead the pyramid scheme doesn't like when people call it that. I noped the duck on out of there fuming after this friend and her co-workers tried to push me into whatever the duck sales job they were trying to con me into. Was on Bumble, and this hot chick who TBH, either it was a bot or a catfish. Anyway, she asked me out for coffee to talk business. I was surprised cause you know women and first moves. It wasn't even a date, it was ACN. And they pay almost $600 to get in. I told her to pay for it, you know, since she was bragging how easy she makes money. Told her I could pay with the first money I'd make in the company. She kinda got me hooked, and I attended their repetitive speech events twice. Their people are fake as duck. After many awkward attempts to get in almost everyone I knew, ruining relationships in doing so, I spent a month and 2 without a sale. I was pissed. After doing some research and realizing how impossible the marketing tactics are, no advertising, just tell a friend, relative or anyone. I unfriended everyone, left their group, and told them to delete every identification of me. I kept my $600 too. Just time wasting, man. Duck those guys, man. A good friend joined World Financial Group, also known as WFO. I told her off the bat to avoid it. Major MLM scheme that preyed on family and friends. She of course ignored my advice and went all gung-ho. I told her that if she wanted to keep the friendship, Please don't ever ask me to join. And luckily, she didn't. She attended a whole bunch of seminars and even went on a trip to the US. A very expensive trip for her and her guy. Paid out of pocket. I think she even had to pay for training and some of the seminars too. Then one day she just stopped talking about it. I assume she grew tired of it and gave up on it. MLM scams encourage asking friends and family members to participate. I fear not to bring it up again as I'm just glad she stopped going to those meetings. I had the same person sign me up as a gift for not one, but 2 different MLM companies after trying to recruit me for months. I bought a couple things with the discounts, but never tried to sell anything. I don't understand how people get roped into this shit. It's so embarrassing. And yet, every female I know who is a parent or is leaning into family life pops up in my news feeds with their MLM BS products and constantly complain about how no one buys local and how important it is to support small businesses. Like, no, Stephanie, you're not an entrepreneur. You're not a small business. You're a sucker pushing overpriced garbage on your friends and family who either feel sorry for you or want you to buy into their own overpriced garbage while making some middle-aged white woman in the southern states rich. I'm a slacker, but oh well. My ex-boss brainwashed me into HempWorks. I was very skeptical about CBD working for anxiety. I had tried everything and nothing worked. It actually worked surprisingly. This was before the big hemp boom. So my dumbass paid the $20 and luckily that's all. I thought it was rather weird that my manager kept pushing me, talking about running your own business. My mom had her own business before she died. I knew it wasn't my business. After trying other CBD products and getting better deals, I basically saw they were exploiting people, charging too much for their product. I was very back and forth most of the time. The thing is, it helped me and it did work. Just a lot of terms were thrown around that seemed off. So I basically paid $20 and never sold anything. I attended an interview for a MLM. It was selling pots and pans. I sat in a room full of about 10 people. The boss walked in with a stack of resumes and said, "Here are all the people who wanted to be here, but you made the cut." One dude was around 75 years old. I remember thinking something was off, but I wasn't until later I realized what was happening.